Handling authentication in React apps can quickly become messy, and you might often see scattered conditional checks throughout components. So an example like this, say we have a useAuth hook right here, which returns a user, and we then have these checks throughout saying if there's a user, navigate to here. If not, we will display this content. If you start seeing these scattered throughout, say in multiple components, there's probably a way that you can dry up your authentication logic. Before I move on, another quick thing that you might see is say you have a route setup. So say you have lots of routes, and in that you see, like you're using React Router DOM, and you might have the element is if there's a user, show the dashboard, if not, navigate to login. Once again, and then say you just have lots of these routes. So then you have another one for, say this one is the profile, another one for, I don't know, whatever you can think of. If you have lots of these, this is another instance where you can probably dry up your code a bit. And so there's actually nothing too much wrong with these because it can be fine for small apps, but as your application grows, authentication logic gets baked into every route definition instead of being centralized. And so of course, if you're doing something repeatedly, there might be a way that you can clean it up a little. And one of these, or a cleaner approach, is to abstract authentication logic into route guards, which are basically dedicated components like this one here called public route, and this one here called protected route. And so what these are is they are called route guards. So public route right here, what it will do is we'll protect unauthenticated pages. So let me show where they're used here. So it's protecting this -login, which basically means you have to be unauthenticated to access this login. And this one right here, protected route, says that you have to be logged in or authenticated to access dashboard and also test. So as you can see right away, with these two components, your authentication logic is basically abstracted away. So you no longer need to worry about user checks in every route. You basically just declare which routes are public and which routes are protected. So let me show you in action right here. So what this is this is using AWS's Authenticator. If you want to see how I could set all of this up from scratch, look for my YouTube video on this. But basically, in the protected route, we have our use Authenticator, which is a hook provided by AWS Amplify, and what it returns is an auth status, which can be unauthenticated, authenticated, or configuring. Configuring being basically this modal right here is still loading. And what this says is that in the protected route, if you are unauthenticated, then navigate to the redirect path provided here, whereas if you're authenticated, render either the children or the outlet. And the outlet is basically a React Router DOM thing, which means it will render the nested routes. So basically you can use this as a nested route or a standalone route if you have both rendering the children and also the outlet. And then for the public route, it's basically just the opposite. So if you're authenticated, navigate to the dashboard. So see this in action here. If I go to dashboard, for example, we can see I get navigated back to login. Try that again, we get navigated back here. But if I sign in, now we're in the dashboard. Say I try to go to the login route, it'll navigate back to the dashboard. And the great thing about this is we don't have to say, then we are in our dashboard right here. All we already know that we are signed in because this is nested in this protected route. And what's also good about this is you can centralize your logic. Say you could add in here maybe groups. So as your application grows, you might have admins, regular users, or even just maybe a super admin, something like that. And you can easily put this logic into these protected route, public route, things like that. I want to thank you for liking and subscribing. Check out my courses and software in the description. Follow me on Medium. Take it easy.